Kubo and the Two Strings is a new animated film directed by Travis Knight. It stars the voice talents of Charlize Theron, Art Parkinson, Matthew McConaughey, and Ralph Fiennes. The movie was created by Laika Studios, who were responsible for another great animated movie, Coraline, that came out a few years ago. This time around we have a story that is kind of done like a Japanese folk tale. It tells the story of a young boy named Kubo, who comes from a tragic upbringing. He's raised by his mother and becomes sought after by an evil entity named the Moon King and his two sinister witches who are after, let's just say, a possession of Kubo's. Kubo embarks on a quest aided by his magical guitar, a monkey, and a samurai who's been turned into a beetle to find his father's long-lost magical armor which will protect him from evil. Now, I first saw the trailer for Kubo a couple of months or so ago and it instantly became one of my most anticipated movies of this year. Aside from the Japanese aesthetic, which I thought looked really cool, it just looked like a damn good adventure story. So I kind of went in, admittedly, with rather high expectations, but I'll tell you what, my expectations were not only met, they were blown right away. This movie delivered more than I could have hoped for. It is easily one of my most favorite movies from this year. I guess the first thing that stands out to me was the visuals. It was such a beautiful movie to look at. Not only was it unique in its design with the whole Japanese flavor going on, but the animation style was just incredible. I mean, I read that it was a stop-motion animated film, but watching it, I'm thinking to myself, there's no way this is stop-motion. It's got to be CG, but sort of done in a stop-motion style. But then, during the end credits, you're presented with a behind-the-scenes glimpse of one of the puppets that they created for the film, one of the larger ones, and holy crap, it really was stop-motion. And I've seen some featurettes on YouTube as well on how they made it, and my God, the work that went into this film is just staggering. Aside from the great visuals, we have a fantastically written story as well. I loved all the characters. Kubo, when you first meet him, he is a storyteller himself, and there was one scene where he's putting on a show for the local villagers where, through the use of his magic guitar, he's able to create shapes and characters and stuff out of paper, using origami. And you just fall in love with this kid, particularly because of his tragic upbringing and everything as well. Like, the characters were really deep and well written. Aside from the story, the dialogue as well was great. It was actually a lot funnier than I had expected. There was some really good humorous dialogue between the characters throughout the film. And it is definitely one of those movies that will cater to not just kids but adults as well. But one little word of warning, it might be a little scary in parts for young kids, particularly because of the two witch characters who are after Kubo. They were creepy as hell. I loved these characters. They were beautifully designed, and the voice work by Rooney Mara as well was absolutely creepy. So yeah, just keep in mind that for the little kids, it might be a little bit too much, but honestly, the inner 5-year-old in me was just wowed by everything I was watching. I particularly loved the score in the film as well. The soundtrack was your kind of typical Hollywood score, but with an Eastern influence thrown in. There was a lot of Asian instruments used, that kind of thing, and it really lent a touch of authenticity to the story. And that was one thing that I really noticed about the film was it honestly felt like I was watching an actual Japanese folktale, to the point where I had to look it up afterwards to find out if there was any fact behind the story. But no, it was actually just a unique story written for this film. And let's face it, in a year where we have so many sequels and remakes and reboots happening, to have this movie come out that is a fresh, original story, oh man, it was just such a welcome thing to see. I definitely like the use of 3D in the film as well, so if you get a chance to check it out in 3D, make sure you do, because there's a lot of CG element to the film. There were a lot of things that definitely came out of the screen, that sort of thing, and it just added to the beautiful pictures that we were seeing. And for those of you who noticed in the trailer that the instrument Kubo plays has 3 strings, and you're wondering why the title's called Kubo and the Two Strings, it's definitely addressed in the film, and it was very cleverly done as well. It was a moment towards the end of the flick that you're sort of sitting there like, that's why it's called Kubo and the Two Strings. Gotcha. So throughout the whole film, I'm honestly sitting there thinking to myself, wow, we've got another 10 out of 10 on our hands here. It was that enjoyable. Until there was one thing that happened that kind of brought it down a notch for me. And I can't really say too much because it's getting into spoiler territory, but it involved the character of the samurai beetle and let's just say his backstory. To me, it was a little predictable and it was just lazy writing. It was just one of those things that happened that just kind of felt a bit convenient, and I honestly wanted something different for his character, but what we were given, because it was such an integral part of the story, it did bring it down just a little bit for me. But look, overall, it was a fantastic movie. It was beautiful to look at. It was fresh and unique, well written, great characters and dialogues, and just full of magic and wonder. And I'm going to give Kubo and the Two Strings a 9.5 out of 10. You know, it's almost heartbreaking in a way that I couldn't give this movie a 10. I really wanted to. I mean, everything about it was so perfect except for that one little plot thing, but like I said, it was a fairly major part of the story, so yeah, I just had to bring it down a notch for that. So thank you very much for watching my review, and thanks to everybody who's been subscribing lately. I have actually noticed my subscriber count going up a notch or two here and there, so don't think I haven't noticed, and I very much appreciate it. So if you've seen Kubo and the Two Strings, please let me know what you thought of it. I hope you love it as much as I did, and look, if you did like the movie, make sure you tell everybody about it, because it's the sort of movie that I don't think a lot of people are aware of, and a lot of people need to know about it and go see it, because the more people go and support the movie, the more movies like this that we're going to get. So please support the movie. If you like it, make sure you tell everyone about it. And in the meantime, let me know what you thought about it. Drop me some comments either here or on Facebook, because I like to talk about movies and I would love to talk about movies with you. See you next time.
Hey you there. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Click subscribe. You see the big word up the top that says subscribe? Well, click on it. Click on it now. Do it. Yeah.